All right, happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to your daily lighting critique. Quick announcement off the top. Monday is a holiday here in the States, so no critique on Monday. We'll go back to the written critique Tuesday, Wednesday video, Thursday written, Friday video. But just a heads up, I'm actually traveling this weekend and won't have access to my computer on Monday, so that's one of the other main reasons why I'm doing it. So, all right, cool. All right, let's take a look. We will, let's start with, actually, Julie, let's start with yours here. Okay, so just a heads up so here's the previous version. We were looking at brightening up the midtones on some of this stuff, getting some more saturation in the snow, also breaking up some of the edges around the, put these over top so you can see, breaking up the edge a little bit more so it wasn't quite, because one of the things that always makes something feel very CG to me is when there's just like a tree is in the ground and it's just like ground, tree, and they just get shoved together. Because what happens in nature is like obviously like the ground kind of builds up around the root of the tree lifts the ground a little bit, like snowbanks, like it's not just a hard line. So anytime I say a hard line, I'm like, So Julia did a really great job of not only doing it, but like you found this really nice reference, because I was saying this offline, but it's one of those things that I'm like, I know it doesn't look right when it's a hard line, but I don't know what it looks like, but it makes sense. So some of it is it fades into the water, and this feels like when it's still frozen, but then as things start to melt and the water starts to loosen up, the water starts to flow, and the snow is kind of like overlapped the edge of it a little bit, and then it kind of creates like a darker shadow. So I think that you were smart in doing kind of this one, which is just basically like a little extra bit of snow being pulled onto the ice top, and I think it looks great. I think it looks really nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I think you did a really good job with that. Looking at the rest of the image, starting with the image as a whole, I think it's looking really good. Like, we've got the cabin itself. I think looks really great. You've got that like lovely shaping in the fill side, which looks so good. The area for me is still, and this is going to be like the really tricky part, and this is just the tricky part of snow, is right in here. It's still, it feels, look at this real quick. It feels a little bit on the green side. And
yeah, I struggled a lot with that.
This is a really hard one.
Because it goes immediately from green to purple.
Yeah.
Or pinkish.
Yeah. There's not a lot in there. There's not a lot of wiggle room in there between the one and the other. Like you can even see it here, like the difference between like down here and then right in there, like that. Like the secondary feels a little more green too. So I think there needs to be a little bit more magenta, a little bit less green in there, and then continue to bump up, because like if you like the snow, the shadows in snow. It's just like there's just so much, like, because light kind of radiates into the snow itself and kind of bounces up through it, that the shadows don't really, like, they don't really get that dark in snow. So I would even just in this region here, I would just continue to bump up those midtones a little bit. The one area I was looking at, and it's just is the mountain back here, just because there's a bunch of light rays over the top of it, and like there's lovely light hitting the top of these trees, but the mountain itself, like what's back there, feels very dark. And with the atmospheric perspective, I think it would actually, I think you could actually push that in a little bit stronger back there, because it's the dark values are throwing me off. That I think if they were more lifted, I think that would be a good thing to do too.
Yeah, so that the dark rock material gets a bit more blended with the snow one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just fade it back there a little bit. All right, cool. Ashley, Aaron, do you have anything else in this?
I think it looks really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've been around following this one since like first pass or anything, but it's we're nearing the final, and it's really, really nice looking.
Yeah, and part of this series of this with the other ones, I think it's a really powerful group of images that you've got.
Thank you.
Yeah, agreed. I like it a lot. Really pretty.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, you really found your groove with these. All right, let's hop over into Aaron's, and then we'll go to then we'll do Matt, Rachel, and Stephanie. All right, Aaron. So we've got your previous version. We've got 2 updates. Can you tell me a little bit about the 2 differences? You talked about having
one is like kind of just doing your notes and like just those, and then the next is I love anything that you can shove extra on the lens or grain. Like I love that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know like you coming from animation probably have like different thoughts on that, but maybe we could find a happy medium. Like on the one with all the stuff, there's lens dirt, there's grain, and there's a vignette. So there's 3 different elements that I can either just remove altogether, I can adjust, whatever.
I think that so I've worked on projects that do both. So Spies in Disguise, we had some film grain on it. There's other projects I did that had film grain on it too, and other like where we were much more aware of doing like dirt hitting the lens, like that kind of stuff. It's just a stylistic choice. I'm happy with both of them. I think that the vignetting is working really great. Like you can see, if just like watch down here, and you can start to see that like you can really like the background gets like you can really kind of zero in. I like the it's like you call it the dirt effect on top. The one that I would adjust is the film grain.
Okay.
Only because of the type of shot that it is, in that you don't see it in the darker values very much. So what happens is you get the feeling like it's just outside. Like the only place that I really see it is on the characters outside, and now it just feels like noise as opposed to
yes. Okay, I gotcha.
So that would be the only thing that I would do. Either I would reduce it, or probably just reduce it.
Okay.
I don't think you necessarily need to eliminate it entirely, but
okay, yeah, cool.
And then the eye's looking really great. I think you found that really nice balance. The other thing I was thinking of with this too is with a character with this much detail in the skin, what I like to do with any image that has like really fine detail, even if my final output is 1920 by 1080, I'll render it at double that, 3840 by 20, like 60.
Well, he's 4K. That's a 4K render of that raptor.
Oh, okay.
Reduced down to the final output has to be 1080 because of Nuke, like the free version.
Right.
But
right. So I think you've already got it. I just want to make sure you're doing it. It looks like I've got my screen in a little bit lower res right now, so everything's a little bigger. But when you look at this on the Discord server, it's like the detail is definitely there. And I was like, imagine if we did it even more. But like it sounds like you've got plenty. You've got it plenty.
I can go more. So I can still up the main room, and I can still up the characters. I debated last night doing the characters and everything else at 4K because I was like, well, they're gonna just get blurred.
Yeah, don't bother.
Okay. So then I'm kind of at the max as to where I can go then.
Yeah. Okay. Deal. Okay. So in terms of take down the mouth. The mouth is looking better. There's a little tiny part right here that still feels a little bit. It's basically just the roof of his mouth and the underside of the teeth, and like right in here, just like that little bit. What I would add, I would just make the darks a little bit darker.
Okay.
Other than that, I think I don't really have anything else. I think this is looking really good.
All right. I mean, I'll go through and do. There's one layer in there. Like if you really zoom in, especially on the clean one, if you zoom into like that door, you can see there's like a fog layer that obviously still has like the Jeep mat in it.
Oh right.
I realized that last night, so I'll take care of that, and I'll do these adjustments, and I'll get it in for Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Yeah,
it's great. And like it was hard. It's hard to describe, but when you see it, like you want the claw to feel menacing, and you know that it means being sharp and feeling that edge, and like what you've got right here. Even though like this, like the underside is probably your real problematic area, like the top of the claw isn't the thing that's going to hurt you, but just seeing that sharp edge is enough to be like, oh dang, that's what's gonna happen to me.
I think you led me into a really good balance because at first I was trying. you know, the lighting is all from the top on this, and the claws have to be a story point. Like in the original artwork they are, in the original film they are. It's like they have to be a story point, and because those are probably the most dangerous part of this character. So
the original Jurassic Park, the first sequence where Grant's talking to the kid, it's like it's all about the claw. Like imagine this claw coming in. That was his like Jaws monologue scene.
Right.
I think it's great. By the way, they're bringing all those guys back.
I know. I saw that trailer.
Yeah, I was like, good for Sam Shepard. He seems like a really nice guy. I've seen him in interviews and stuff. He seems lovely. I don't know if it's just the New Zealand accent, but he seems like a really nice guy.
He spoiled something in an interview, and it was like, oh, these guys, they're all getting so old.
I know. They're just forgetful. Yeah, that's great. All right, cool. All right, let's hop into Matt. Welcome to the group. So this is your first submission for the first Power of Lighting course. I think your breakdown was really good. I love this image. The amount of shaping and everything is really profound. The saturation and hue of the characters really pops them off from the blue environment. The one thing, and I was saying this offline before we started recording, well, two things. It's interesting how the sunlight that's coming through feels very white balanced, and then the characters themselves really pop off of that. So they were even playing down the coolness of the set to get those guys to pop. But the thing that we were saying offline before we started, sorry, the sun's going crazy behind me, and I'm just like constantly adjusting my exposure on my camera, is it's interesting when people post film stills to the internet because they will mess with the aspect ratio. And like this is a square aspect ratio on a cinematic thing, which is like, unless you're watching it on Instagram, you're not going to see it really in square format. But so it does change the composition. It looks like they made it like they did some stuff specifically for the square formatting. But traditionally there's some, like if this was just the image, there would be some problems compositionally, like the characters, like everything's kind of weighted to the right-hand side. Like we've got this line kind of coming down here, and it's just like, it feels a little bit imbalanced. But that's, again, and the reason why I'm saying this is just be aware of this when you're looking at movie reference online, and this goes for everybody, is that for whatever reason, and actually, aspect ratios change, the colors sometimes change, and I think that's more of a compression issue. But like, if you can look for the same scene of a film and just like Google search it, and you'll see like within the thumbnails how every one of them looks a little bit different. And so you're like, man, you almost need to go to that animation screen capture website or something to kind of verify that the colors are kind of where they are. And not that it matters, like, but it's, if you see something you like, it's what you like, and it could be adjustment of it. But just be aware that sometimes when you search stuff online, it's not always what you see when you watch the streaming or the DVD version of it. So just to be aware of that. But yeah, very cool stuff. Actually, this flows really nicely into the next project, which is talking about Rachel's underwater scene. So let me go ahead and pull in yesterday's stuff. Yesterday, yeah. With my mock-up over top there. So one of the things that we were talking about was Rachel had submitted this to the jellyfish, and the biggest thing is like whenever you're doing something like jellyfish or snowing on a pond, there are things that you look at and you're like, okay, these feel like a computer generated image, but I don't know why. Like if you ever find yourself feeling that way, like it doesn't feel right and I don't know why, go to reference. That's what reference is for. It's like, okay, so what is it about these jellyfish that like, because they have the transparency, they all have all the kind of core elements, but then we started like taking a look at some stuff. And you were talking about how I think you're going to lean more towards this one, but like there are elements to it like, oh, they kind of have these dark edges, and there's more detail on their interior core up around the top. And then like, this has got the blue underwater feel, but like the tentacles are darker, these stripes are a little bit darker. Like these things coming down, the tendrils, I don't know what you call them, but their legs essentially have they're like kind of a cloudier, whiter around the outside versus the inside. Oh, I lost it. And it's like it seems like that balance is kind of flipped here. So like really understanding what you're going for and finding that that stronger contrast around the edges and the detail in the middle is really, really important. So it's like it's just whenever you're finding yourself like I don't know why, but it's just not feeling right, stop working on what you're working on and go search out some images and find some reference for it. That's what we're learning today. All right, so last up, we've got Stephanie. So here we go. So let's see, these two are playing together. The last thing that we were working on was just doing some fine tweaks because each image was working individually, but it's this idea of getting them to play in the sequence. And the last thing that we were doing was just making sure that the bright point on the character matches between the cut. So you want it to be like as bright there as it is there. And that feels about right. Yeah. This is something I didn't notice previously, but do you see watch the wall right here? As the light kind of comes down, you get that pattern, right? That was the pattern that we added later in the game. And I was thinking about it more as we got here to make sure that we see it. But seeing it back in here too is really nice. It adds like a nice like little subtle layer of believability. Just make sure. The last thing I'm checking now is, yeah, I think it's okay. The red jacket was starting to appear a little bit too saturated in the second shot, and I just wanted to make sure that it matched up well with the first shot. And it's only saturated because he passes the red light. But yeah, I think I don't really have anything else on this. I think these are playing together well. Complex couple shots. Chase sequences are always difficult because the character's never in the same spot twice, and you're always just like traveling with them, and they're making sure they're traveling through light and dark areas, and their lighting is appropriately changing, and like the way that you have them pass the red light into the blue light at the end, it's all great. All right, cool. All right, well, that is it for this week, everybody.
Mike, sorry.
Yeah.
I posted the creepy cabin as well.
Oh!
I don't know if you saw.
I did. I missed it.
Minutes before 5:30. So.
No, I did. Here you go. All right, so this is. I see.
I did that tiny adjustment.
Oh, look at that behind the trees there. Yeah, that's good.
And I posted 2 versions of the possibly final.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling that maybe I like the warm light as it looks, but I was feeling that maybe it takes a bit away from the creepy feeling. So I don't know which one to choose.
I like the warmer light. Yeah, I think it just adds more complexity to the image.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it's I don't think you have to worry about it feeling not creepy. Or creepy's not necessarily the right word. But not.
Yeah, I know.
It's more ominous. Like I think that one tells a better story than not having that little bit of warmth in there.
Yeah, okay, absolutely.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. All right, yeah, so get those once you have your series done, let us know and we'll definitely add that to the Hall of Fame because it's great. It's really, really great.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I mean, we already got the one, obviously the one that your winning submission, but we'll get the others in there as well. So just
absolutely.
All right, cool. All right, well, thank you all very much again. Have a wonderful weekend. Again, no critique Monday, and I will see you all back again in writing on Tuesday. But I'll talk to you all soon, and have a good weekend, y'all.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye.